It's a low cross, it's an inviting cross, and it's been turned in by Theo Archibald, and he celebrates in front of the travelling faithful.
Welcome to Orient Live. Whilst the Premier League and the Championship might be paused momentarily for the World Cup, we're bringing you a competition with some real integrity, and League Two keeps rolling on, and the O's are looking to extend their lead at the top of the table, and we're going to be bringing you all the action from today's game against Stockport County. We're delighted to be joined in the studio today by Joe Willison and Brendan Pitcher. And boys, thank you for joining me, and it's another big one today. It's a sellout up in Stockport, and it's a good opportunity for the O's to come up against a tough team and really test themselves.
Yeah, really good fixture. Stockport are a huge club. You know, they've obviously managed to get themselves out of the National League. You know, rightfully back in the Football League now, and didn't start too great, but you know, picked up a bit of form recently. As you said, sell out today, so I'm sure it'll be, you know, a good crowd, good fixture, and you know, Orient being the top of the league, everyone's trying to shoot them down at the moment, so I'm sure they'll be bang up for it.
And unbeaten in 5. They've conceded 1 goal in the last 5. It's tough opposition today.
Yeah, this is almost about as tough as you can get in League Two at the minute. They're the form side in the division. They kind of came into the division with high hopes. I think they were the bookies' favourites before a ball was kicked. But they started pretty slowly, but they seem to have really shown their quality now. They've got a number of really good players for the level, and a quality manager in Dave Challoner that we all know well from his time at Fylde and Hartlepool. And they play quite a good direct style of play that is effective at League Two level. So like I said, a really tough test today, but as we keep saying about Orient, it's about us. We're the league leaders, we're there to be shot at, and if we play our game, we know we can beat anyone at this level.
It is certainly a big one for the O's. I'm sure Stockport will be looking to claim a scalp this afternoon, but they may be top opposition, but Orient are equally as tough, and there's been a couple of changes for the starting lineup for today. So let's take a run through that now. Starting in goal, as always, is number 22, Lawrence Vigouroux. Number 2, Tom James. In at centre-back is number 5, Dan Happy. The little magician, number 7, Paul Smith, is out wide, with number 11, Theo Archibald, on the opposite flank. Number 12, Jordan Brown, keeps his space in the starting lineup after his man of the match performance last week, as does number 14, George Moncur, is in the midfield alongside number 15, Idris El Madzouni, and the captain, number 18, Darren Pratley. Partnering Dan Happy at the back is number 19, Omar Beckles, and keeping his spot as well and leading the line is number 23, Charlie Kelman. Another bench for the O's: Sam Sargent, Shadoji, Ruel Sotiriou, Jaden Wareham, Aaron Drynan, Jaden Sweeney, and Stephen Duke McKenna. Now, Rob Hunt out through in force with an injury, it seems, so it looks like in that fullback position Jordan Brown is rightfully keeping his spot at right back, and it looks like maybe Tom James is switching across to the other side. Yeah,
that's how you'd expect it to go. It's a little bit different for Tom James. I think Joe will probably be able to speak about it better than me, but I don't know how difficult it is when you're kind of playing on that opposite side as a fullback. I imagine it takes a little bit of adjusting, but ultimately it's the same position, just on opposite sides. So yeah.
Rob Hunt does it. He's naturally a right back, plays out on the left on his weaker foot, but we've seen Tom James do it this season as well. How confident are you in Tom James's ability to seamlessly switch to the other side of the defence?
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think it will be pretty seamless for TJ. You know, he's got a really good left foot for a start, which always helps. You know, he's never afraid to pass or shoot, as we've seen with his left foot, so that helps. You know, also he's an intelligent player. You know, he knows how to. He's an experienced guy as well. You know, he knows the position well. I think possibly defensively, like in my experience playing on the opposite fullback side, defensively when you're coming up against an opponent that likes to dribble, it's different in that, you know, your body shape is different. You know, you might have to turn left, turn right. So sometimes that can kind of throw you off. You know, where you're used to like seeing the whole pitch from one angle in your natural side. So that might be a little bit of something that TJ might have to do with, but I'm sure it'll be fine there.
Do you fear Stockport may have seen this starting lineup and it may be somewhere they look to exploit potentially?
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, you know, something. If I was looking at Orient side, you know, they've been so strong and consistent throughout the team that, you know, that's perhaps one area that they may be able to find a bit of joy. You know, if they choose to put someone out wide who's a dribbler, you know, someone who wants to be direct and have a go at Tom James and, you know, see how comfortable he finds it over there.
And let's talk about the right back position as well. Jordan Brown. While we're talking about players out of position, it's worth reminding ourselves that he isn't a right back either. But you wouldn't have thought that last Saturday against Harrogate he was superb.
Yeah, I think listening to Richie Wellens' post-match interview last week, I think it was pretty clear that even if Rob Hunt was fit today, Jordan Brown would have kept his place at right back, and deservedly so. I thought he was excellent on Saturday. He kind of played quite high up the pitch, actually, which was quite surprising considering you probably think of him more as a defensive-minded player, but he was steady in there, and we keep saying this about Jordan Brown. This is what he's about. He'll come in and do a 7 out of 10 job every week at an absolute minimum, and those are the players you kind of need in a successful side. They're like gold dust, really. And
it feels like he's really coming into it, Jordan. He, as Brendan says, he offers a lot from right back. He is naturally a midfielder, but if we take a look at some of his chances since he's put on an Orient shirt, he offers quite a lot.
Yeah, he does. I think he's just a really sort of dependable, reliable player, you know, that Richie clearly likes, and he values his contribution. You know, he comes on, if he doesn't start, he comes on in most games, you know, whether it's to see the game out, if the team are looking for a goal. You know, Richie clearly feels that he has something to offer. And then, you know, as we've seen here, you know, when he plays at fullback, you know, he doesn't just sort of stay in his slot. He'll get forward. He'll try and put crosses in and join in attacks. And I feel like he's a player that's sort of underrated. Really, he's actually got like, you know, a lot of attributes to his game. Here, you know, here we see him cutting inside and letting a shot off and scoring there. So, yeah, I feel like he's turning into a really important squad player for the team.
Just the one goal we've seen there. There were two, but the one against Wimbledon was wrongly or rightly disallowed. We've discussed that already, but the chances he's had, the shots he's taken, he probably is unlucky to not have a few more goals to his name.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm pleased to see him starting to bring that to his game, because, like I said, we kind of see Jordan Brown as this dependable, hard-working midfielder, keeps it tidy, but he's actually shown in recent weeks, especially the game against Harrogate, that he can bring something extra going forward, and that's so important with us. When teams kind of play against us, they tend to drop a bit deeper, and that's when you need your fullbacks to come and try and contribute, and so it's a big game for him today, and one I expect him, again, to put in another good performance.
And I guess he's got to really showcase what he can do when he gets a chance, albeit at right back, because he's got a tough job displacing any of the midfield three of El Mazouni, Pratley or Moncur. So he's got to show what he's about and try and push those guys, and doing it out of position, I guess, just adds a bit more kudos to his name.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's an opportunity for him. I'm sure he sees it that way. You know, whenever he steps on the pitch, whether he's playing in midfield, fullback, you know, it's his chance to show the manager what he can do, and I think he has been doing that consistently now. So, like you said, I think those three in midfield have been sort of really settled in there and hard to displace. So, you know, I'm sure we'll just see it as an opportunity, and he'll be trying to force his way into the team wherever that is. Today it's right back, and hopefully he can continue the form he showed last week.
And he's going to have to work hard defensively today against an informed team, but as a defensive unit, especially with everyone out of place, they're going to have to all really pull together. We know that the strengths of our back line, but they're going to have to be on point today.
Yeah, they're going to have to be, because, like we've mentioned, Stockport, a very, very good side. But ultimately, we've got the joint best defensive record in English football at the minute. So we're keeping lots and lots of clean sheets. We're proving we can go away to these places. I think this game reminds me a little bit of the Barrow game and those type of games earlier in the season, where we're like going up north, long trip, the form team in the division. Everyone's like, oh, maybe take a point. Actually, we proved quite comfortable that day and beat Barrow. So this side has proved that they can go away and keep clean sheets and beat these kind of form teams, and they're going to have to do it again today.
As well as keeping clean sheets and remaining solid defensively, we're going to need some magic from our forward players. And let's start in that midfield. You mentioned the Barrow game where Idris scored a fantastic goal from 25 yards. You've got George Moncur really coming back into the side after his short spell on the sidelines. That they're going to need to have that real creative spark to try and unlock the Stockport defence that's only conceded one goal in 5 games.
Yeah, I think we're going to need a big performance from George Moncur today. You know, I feel, you know, what Idris and Darren Platley give you in there. You know, they're quite sort of, you know, steady and consistent. I feel like, you know, George Moncur, he's the one that we're looking for today for a bit of like creative spark, a bit of magic. You know, pick the ball up on the half turn, dribbling, and I'd like to see him try and get a few more shots off. if possible. You know, I feel like he's always busy, he's always lively, looking to get on it. But you know, I want to see probably a few more shots or like, you know, killer passes and like decisive moments, I'd say, from him.
And let's talk about George Moncur just a little bit longer. He's got, I think, 5 goals it is now for the season, 4 of them from the penalty spot. He's probably someone that will want to get involved even more in that goal involvements from open play and add some more goals for tally. We know that the quality he has.
Yeah, definitely. He has that kind of aura about him. He's almost kind of looks a little bit to me like the big kid in the playground. He just looks a bit above the level. Some of his touches are fantastic. But also, you talk about the goal contributions, and he'll obviously want to add to that. But I think what he brings to this team, alongside that, even when he's not contributing with goals and assists, is another man for people to mark. Look, you got that front three of Theo, Paul Smith, Moncur. Teams can't man mark all 3 of those. They're going to have to give one of them space at some point, and ultimately, even if Moncur isn't providing the goals or assists, he's creating space for someone like Paul Smith or Theo Archibald.
He certainly will, and all of them will be key to giving Kelman something to do, and he's going to want some pinpoint service today, and he's got his second start in a row. And do you think that's a case of maybe Richie giving him a few games to really try and hit the ground running and have a few games to string something together?
Yeah, I think so. You know, he's sort of not had too many minutes or game time recently before last week. So, you know, I feel like it's an opportunity for him. You know, he obviously started the season. Aaron Drennan came back in and had a run in the team, but you know, now he's got the shirt again. So, yeah, like similar to Jordan Brown, it's an opportunity to stay in the side. You know, this is a successful team that's doing well, and the team's not changing much because the boys are producing and performing. So, you know, when someone does get an opportunity, it's important that they really do stake a claim. And so it's a big chance for him. You know, I'm sure he'll be desperate to keep the shirt. And yeah, you know, he'll be desperate to try and score as well. I'm sure that will sort of do his confidence. Yeah.
And in a game as tight as we expect it to be today, we're going to need our strikers to be clinical. We're going to need to take the chances, which will probably be limited as we expect. So we know when Kelman gets a chance, he's a very, very good finisher. So he's just going to have to hope that he's on point and ready to score when the chance comes to him.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll be ready. You know, he'll be sniffing out opportunities and you know, getting in the right areas to score. You know, we've seen that he's got that ability naturally. You know, to get himself in goal scoring areas. So yeah, like you said, I'm sure he'll be hoping to supply from Theo and Paul Smith. And Moncur as well. You know, I'm sure he's hoping that they can all kind of, you know, help him find the back of the net at some point. You know, I feel like we've the two wingers, Smith and Theo, they've been consistent pretty much throughout the whole season in terms of like delivering with goals, assists. So yeah, I'm sure that you know Kelman's kind of looking around thinking, I've got good options here around me.
And so hopefully we will have some goals to bring to you this afternoon. Don't forget, of course, it is a worldwide stream today, so all fans, UK and international, can watch this one. Just head over to the website that is on the screen now to pick up your match pass and watch along with us here on Orient Live. We'd like to send our well wishes to Matt Howard as well, who's currently watching from home. Hope you rest up and get well soon. Richie Wellens will also be sat in the stands as he's under the weather as well. So it will be Paul Terry in the dugout this afternoon, and we caught up with him earlier this afternoon to get his thoughts.
PT, thanks for joining us. Big game here at Stockport County today, but first of all, I understand there's a bit of illness in the coaching department.
Yeah, just a little bit. Gaffer's been ill for a couple of days and Matty as well now, so without them, the Gaffer will be here today, but Matty won't be, but Gaffer just be in the stands.
One of them things, I'm sure he's been involved in preparations, has gone as usual.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the Gaffer is planned rigorously again for the game, you know, and the game plan's there for us ready to execute today. So he's been a big part of what we've done leading into the game today.
It'll be a good game, good advert for League 2, should be a full crowd here and a good atmosphere.
Yeah, it should be a good game. They're doing well at the minute, and obviously we're doing well away from home, so good one to go into. Crowd will be big as well. I think they're biggest of the season, they're saying so far, so that all helps with the atmosphere.
So for Stockport as well, what do you think we can expect from them today?
Yeah, they're big, physical, aggressive, you know, but they're not just one-dimensional. You know, they can play as well, even though they've got Wootton up front, who's a bit of a target for them. But they can mix the game up, you know. So we've got to be on our game and ready to face whatever they throw at us.
I was about Rob Hunt today. Can you shed a little bit of light on that one?
Yeah, he just picked up a little calf injury. I'm not sure how long he's going to be yet, but obviously just rules him out today, and just hopeful after today we've got like a bit of a 10-day gap, I think it is, or 2 weeks. So hopefully for the next game potentially he could be back.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Well, hopefully Paul Terry can get the job done for us this afternoon in the absence of Richie and Matty. But as we've said, it's a tough opposition today in the form of Stockport County. So let's take a look at today's opposition and how they line up. In goal for Stockport County is number 1, Ben Hinchcliffe. Number 2, Macaulay Southern Hales. Number 4, Akil Wright. Number 6, Fraser Horsfall. Number 9, Paddy Madden. Number 10, Anthony Sarcevic. 14, Will Collar. Number 18, Ryan Crowsdale. Number 19, Carl Wooton. And 21, Miles Hippolyte. And finally, number 23, Chris Hussey. And on the bench for Stockport is Bobby Jones, Connor Evans, Ollie Crankshaw, Ryan Johnson, James Brown, Ryan Rydell and Joe Lewis. And it is an informed team as well, as we've already mentioned. They've not lost in their last 5. They've only conceded 1 goal, and they've really found some form recently after a shaky start to the season.
Yeah, they've been the form team in the division recently, and they play a really direct, good style for League Two. It's the type of style that gets you out of League Two in terms of it's a 3-5-2, so solid defensively, so hard working, so drilled in their roles, but also kind of just moments of quality. They've got players with quality throughout that side, and I think they've got a really good budget for the level. So you go through it. There's Fraser Horsfall at the back, who was so key to Northampton's success last season. Anthony Sarcevic, who's played at League One and League Two for a number of years, and just a really quality operator. They've got solid wing backs. And then 2 front men who are just excellent players for the level. So yeah, a really, really strong side, and one that I wouldn't even bet against at this point, being up there in the promotion race come the end of the season.
And that's not surprising considering the man in the dugout for them, Dave Challoner. It's a name that's quite familiar to a lot of Orient fans for some of his connections to the club in some of our days with Justin Edinburgh, and he's a good manager as well, and they attracted him when he was managing a division above, and they've obviously got a big pull as a club, and they're on a good road to somewhere.
Yeah, they're a really good, football league club. Obviously been kind of languishing in the National League for a few years now, but managed to obviously get themselves promoted and back in the league. And they are, they're a well supported team, get really good attendances. Like Brendan said, good budget for the level, and they've managed to attract, a good manager and also players of a good pedigree. Players there with a lot of good experience. Madden, Chris Hussey, Sarcevic. So yeah, they've got quality throughout their team, no doubt about it. And they've obviously got themselves a bit of rhythm and momentum now, and picked up a few results. So they'll be confident today.
Who are the players? I mean, there's a few in there that you can, as we've already mentioned, and can see that have come from higher divisions. But who are the names that really kind of make you feel a little bit nervous as we approach a game? Yeah,
probably Sarcevic, I would say. Probably their most creative player. Played at come from Bolton last season, and he'll be sort of like really getting them ticking. I think he's a guy that likes to get shots off. He's creative in the final third, and he'll try and make things happen for them. Madden is obviously a goal scoring threat, and then you've got Hippolyte, who I believe is playing wing back, who's pacey, direct, quick. At the back, Chris Hussey, I think he's playing left-sided centre-back. He's got great delivery, free kicks and corners. So, yeah, there's quality throughout the team in different places, and they're just like a generally quite a solid, organised unit.
And Paddy Madden's the one that the coaches will probably have been looking at, and him being the main man to stop scoring the goals, and that's the one our defenders will maybe have to be a little bit alert to today. He's been in some goal scoring form himself.
Yeah, we've highlighted him here, and we'll show some of his goals where he is their top scorer this season, 7 goals in 15 games, which is a good record. And like I said, their game is geared towards getting the front to the service. Carl Wooten, his strike partner, is kind of the typical big target man, will put himself about, and Paddy Madden is the finisher, and he's been that kind of player for a number of years now throughout League One, League Two, and then when he dropped down to the National League, he proved a class above last season. So just a really good player for the level. He's one where if he gets a chance, he's going to take it. So today, from an Orient point of view, you've just got to kind of try and limit the service to him completely, because I don't think he's one of them that is going to create something out of nothing. He's just a pure poacher, so you've just got to do your best to try and limit the service into him.
And Dan Happy and Omar Beckles at the back will have to be really strong in when those balls do come into the box, dealing with them. We can see that Madden's really alive to some of the balls that have been put in recent games.
Yeah, I don't think Madden will trouble them physically. I think, Dana and Omar will have far too much, like in terms of pace, strength, aggression. But, he's lively and he's, he knows where the goal is, knows how to sniff out an opportunity. And, he comes alive between the posts. That's his bread and butter. That's where he really wants to be. And they just have to be switched on, I think, just for like little sharp movements of his. And he's an intelligent player as well. So, yeah, they'll have to be aware of him for sure today.
And it's probably going to be a tough environment for the O's. It's a sellout at Edgeley Park. Stockport have got some notoriously loud fans, I think let's call them. It's going to be maybe a little bit intimidating. They're looking at us coming here in top spot, and it's probably the biggest game since they've returned to the Football League. So the pressure's going to be on Orient a little bit today.
Yeah, it is. That's what comes with being successful and doing well. Obviously, when you're on top. You're everyone's big game, so we know different here today, and I feel like the team will relish that pressure. I'd like to, obviously they bounced back from the Wimbledon defeat of a really good away performance last weekend. So in general, they've been doing really well on the road, and I'm sure they'll rise to the occasion and enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy that pressure. Be a raucous crowd. There'll be good atmosphere there. So I can see it bringing out the best of them today.
And yes, they're informed, but the O's, as we've already said, you look at Barrow when you think the pressure's on, and we just turn up and we switch it on, and it didn't even really look too difficult. Do you think the same might happen today?
Yeah, I think you talk about pressure. I think it goes both ways, because obviously this is a full house at Stockport, and their crowd aren't going to accept them sitting 10 behind the ball and defending. They're going to want to attack and go forward, and we know how dangerous we can be as a team when teams give us space to run in behind for the likes of Theo Archibald and Paul Smith. So it goes both ways. Look, they're not going to be a team that are going to sit back and really defend for their lives. They're going to come at us. We're going to have to defend well and work hard, but ultimately, if we can get in behind and play our game, we should have enough for them.
Picking up on something you said a few minutes ago, Brendan, you expect them to be up and around there at the end of the season. Do you think they're looking at this and seeing as kind of where they want to be? Their budget probably matches us, and they want to be where we are, and this is probably not only a scalp but a bit of a mark for them. Yeah,
definitely. I think they've won a couple of tricky away games recently, but not a top side like Orient are at the minute. I think I spoke to Darren Prattley in the week, and I spoke to him about the pressure of teams raising their game against you. And Darren Prattley made the point that when he was a player, again, he'd raise his game against the teams at the top of the league, because you want to prove yourself. You want to prove that you're as good as the top team in the league. And Stockport, were obviously going into the season as the bookies' favourites, felt that they could have been in and around it. And I still think they might have a chance of being up there if they continue this form. So yeah, like you say, a good test for them, and they're going to be going. They won't accept a draw. They'll be going for all 3 points to try and make up that ground.
Well, it's probably will be a tough fixture, but the pressure will be relished by the O's. And one man in particular who looks like he never feels any pressure is the little magician Paul Smith. We caught up with him as well earlier to hear his thoughts ahead of the game.
Smithy, good win away at Harrogate at the weekend. Nice little goal for yourself. A bit of a collector's item as well, a header.
Yeah, I think that's my second in my career. I think the last one was at Sunderland, Stadium of Light. So now it's good. It's always good to get the 3 points, especially away from home.
Good to bounce back as well after the result beforehand.
Yeah, massive. I mean, everyone knows Wimbledon wasn't really greatest performance. Well, we played well. It was just they got into our heads and we let them and kind of messed up our own game. But again, bounce back on Saturday and get the 3 points.
Another penalty that you won as well. A good one for George Moncur to put away as well. How important was it having him back in the team?
Massively, yeah. Monks brings so much to the team. He's sharp, gets on the ball in areas that some people don't want to, and he finds passes. And again, he scores every penalty that he's hit this season. So again, he's been a massive character in the changing room and on the pitch as well.
October was a big month for yourself on the pitch, capped by the fact that you won the PFA Fans Player of the Month. So looking back on that month, I imagine that's one you've got a lot of pride in.
Yeah, massive. I mean, again, my target this season was to play as many games as possible, and if goals and that assist came into it, I mean, I'll take them. So I'm just glad I'm playing games and helping the team get the 3 points. But yeah, October was a massive month for me, and goals as well as assists.
Scoring all sorts of goals. Do you do a tap in?
I'm due one, yeah, I should be. I have to be.
On to the weekend is Stockport County, who obviously promoted in the summer, probably had a bit of a slower start than they would have wanted, but have hit a good bit of form now. Expecting that to be a tough game on Saturday.
Yeah, of course. I mean, every game in League Two is a tough game. We don't know how they're going to play against us. They might change, but if they're at home, I think they might go for the game. And like this season, so many teams have been changing for us, and we've had to try and adapt to that. So, I mean, if it happens on Saturday, we'll adapt, and if not, then we'll play the way we're going to play.
And we expect there to have a busy home end. The away end should be full and loud again, so I guess it just makes every game that bit more special.
Massive, yeah. It's always nice to have a full crowd. Loads of fans there. Everyone's singing, being loud. It's good. It's always good for us because it gives us motivation to go forward and attack, and we don't go under the shell. We strive off it, and when the fans are loud, we play well.
So kickoff is just under 5 minutes away, and of course don't forget today's game is available to stream UK and worldwide. So wherever you're watching from, if you're on our YouTube live stream, don't forget to head over to the website to go and pick up your match pass to watch along with us here on Orient Live. But now let's remind ourselves of how the O's are going to be lining up for this afternoon's fixture against Stockport County. In goal for the O's is number 22, Lawrence Vigouroux. Playing at left back this afternoon as Rob Hunt's out injured is number 2, Tom James. Taking up his position at centre back is number 5, Dan Happy. And the little magician, number 7, Paul Smith, is out wide with number 11, Theo Archibald, on the opposite flank. With number 12, Jordan Brown, maintaining his position at right back. And number 14, George Moncur, number 15, Idris El Mazouni, and the captain, number 18, Darren Pratley, make up the midfield three, with number 19, Omar Beckles, partnering Dan Happy. And leading the line is number 23, Charlie Kelman. And on the bench for the O's is Sam Sargent, Shadoji, Ruel Satiriou, Jaden Wareham, Aaron Dryan, Jaden Sweeney, and Stephen Duke McKenna. So a strong lineup again. We've spoken about them, and we've heaped the praise on them, and they're going to be relishing today's tough task. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, they will. I think Brendan said earlier, I feel Stockport, being the size of the club they are, I feel like they'll hopefully try and come out today and make it a game. Similar to the Carlisle game when they were sort of on the front foot and aggressive. I feel like it does bring the best out of Orient. When spaces appear and you can get lots of Theo Smith and George Moncur, sort of run in and give them that time and that space to be creative. Hopefully it will make for an open game.
Hopefully, and we've obviously had such a great start to the season. Serve Stevenage, serve Northampton. There's a few other teams having good seasons, and they're not a million miles away. And every game, we don't want to be dropping points and seeing anyone else gain any ground on us, really, do we?
Yeah, we're going to feel that pressure, but that's what comes with being top of the league. You just got to deal with it, take it every game as it comes, and just hopefully get a good result here.
Well, it's a sellout up at Edgeley Park, and the teams are making their way out onto the pitch. So, time to hand over to Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
Good afternoon and welcome to Edgeley Park. It's good to be back after a 13-year absence, and Leyton Orient already out onto the pitch. Blue skies and even a little bit of sunshine in this part of Greater Manchester, which is unusual, and we understand that Richie Wellens is here, although he and Matt Harold have not been very well this week.
Yeah, I understand they've stayed away from the camp in training, but as you say, Richie Wellens, we believe, is here. Should imagine he will be sat to our right